and welcome to Wrestling Movies. I'm Stevie Pearson along with Elliot, and today we'll be talking about a great movie called Fighting With My Family.
Chapter 1.
In the beginning, Paige's movie, brackets non-porn.
That's got to make it in. That's got to be the title. Paige's movie, not porn, question mark. Oh, God.
We're dying. Shit.
This is when, okay, if it's like this, we're fucking fine. So, Fighting With My Family stars Florence Pugh as Paige. It also stars Nick Frost as her dad, Ricky. To be honest, I won't lie, there's not many other actresses. I'm reading the DVD cover and I couldn't exactly name what actress plays or actor plays what person after that. It seems to be, it's a good film in the sense of it's giving British actors a chance to actually shine with a real life character.
I personally think Nick Frost absolutely kills it here.
Oh, God. Yeah, exactly. You can tell he was just literally told, do what you want with it. I'm sure he met with Ricky Knight.
Yes.
Or at least talked to him at least once, because he has his mannerisms down perfectly, and his cadence and timing.
Absolutely. I would say that Lena Headey does a very good job as Sarai Knight also, with these same kind of mannerisms down to a T.
Oh, exactly. And they don't, the whole story, they don't hold back at all with anything. They are brutally honest about the whole upraising of the whole family and how they came together. Sure,
at parts I would liken the film to be in the vein of a kind of a Mike Leigh play at times, with its grimness and its darkness. However, obviously they keep it light because it's a comedy and a drama piece also.
Yes, and I get at the same time it is a film that does focus around mainly a teenage girl in the beginning of it. So they don't want to go too down the depths of it too quickly.
No.
It does start off very light-hearted.
It does. It's you have to remember, it being British wrestling, they don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole of relying on the old British wrestling style of Daddy and Haystacks and other things. But there's obviously an element of that in there.
That's more fan service, I would say, for the English fans, because you've got to remember, this film was mainly they are advertising this film mainly at Americans who have the network, which is probably their main demographic. Second, I think, is a couple of other countries. I think England falls in top 5, but because of our population, we are not the most heavy users of the WWE network and services such as that.
No. Also, it serves well as a good juxtaposition for the WF stuff that comes later on, with the more ground and pound based stuff of Norwich based wrestling of WAW, heading into obviously the big WrestleMania scene at the very end. The obvious villain of the piece is played by Vince Vaughn, who has an almost certifiable character down of being one of your WF style announcers and personalities of old.
Yeah, for sure. Like, Vince Vaughn does play the part perfectly in a sense, and I was surprised when I found out he was on board with this, because I didn't see this film. Either they're paying him a lot or he saw something in this role, because he is a big name to be able to pull into this film, especially a film which is paid and run by WWE themselves. So to be able to get him on board and him to play a character, he's not half-arsing it at all.
No, he's definitely going for it there. He comes across as completely corporate, completely unlikable, but at the same time, his character makes perfect sense within the world that they're conveying to us.
Yeah, you can understand in a sense where he's coming from with some of the scenes. Like, even though he's an evil character, they do give him a comedy element, especially with his lines, his comebacks when they're doing the promo tests. And the same with the beach scene while they're doing the trials and exercises. Like, his whole thing is squeeze the horn if you want out.
Now, squeeze the horn, obviously being British, sounds more of a euphemism than I think was meant.
A heavily panto element to it.
Yes, it's
it is an old-fashioned like car horn in a sense.
Yes.
And if you press it, it's your way of quitting NXT and saying that you're not up to the cut of the rest. But how he uses it in such a comedic element to where he is, I guess in a sense, a bit of an anti-hero, because you hate to like him.
Yeah.
But he does make the film in any scene he's in.
Yeah, it's hard to work out who exactly he's based on in real life parlance, in the sense that you get elements of Palmer Cannon, you get elements of Johnny Ace, you get elements of Bill DeMott there. And it's more prestigious of all three than any one character as such. But I think he definitely hams it home perfectly here. The whole element with the brother, I think, sells the whole thing perfectly. Only trouble being, I've found, is like a lot of wrestling films, they kind of jump in and out of the kayfabe element as to whether the matches are worked or not, or rigged, if you like. In the sense that at 1 minute they're shooting on each other and giving receipts, and the next minute it's obviously back to being a worked match again. But you tend to get that mainly in the older wrestling movies, when they had to protect kayfabe publicly.
Yes, I think because WWE they make enough references to kayfabe and not what is kayfabe and what kayfabe isn't anymore in a sense. But the film is very good at it throughout, of making a really good point of what they can admit is faked and what isn't. The only real glaring error I think they made during the film is where it's just after the training montage of the two, of Paige and the other diva, doing the suicide dives. Sure. And as they've all they're at the NXT show, they've dived out the ring, and all four of them look like they're hugging and cheering after the dive. And it's just, if that happened at a live show, it would just kill everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That kind of kills the illusion of things perfectly.
Yeah, and especially the only other error I really thought they made, especially only with the wrestling scenes, because the wrestling scenes are all very well done. You can tell that WWE has thought they've used the exact same camera angles as if it was shot for WWE TV themselves. But the only glaring error they've also made is they seem to undersell Paige in the beginning. Like, I do remember her in NXT and bits like that, and they make it look like she never had gear in a sense. Like, she comes out still in her tatty, like, ripped up jean shorts and like a band t-shirt. Well, she did have the original gear in NXT as well. They seem to be they do oversell as an underdog, I think, at times.
Sure. As far as the other girls, I was confused when they had one girl called Jerry Lynn.
Yes.
And obviously the real-life Jerry Lynn's a male wrestler, and a very good male wrestler. And I couldn't work out if that was some sort of inside gag or rib, or whether that was just a well-chosen name.
They're both short with blonde hair, it is a shot.
Obviously Jerry Lynn doesn't have the long hair anymore, it looks more like Robert England now.
No, fair point.
I don't think I've ever seen Norwich look quite so pretty outside of Alan Partridge, though.
Oh, yeah. Even in the beginning where they pick up a trainee wrestler who is dealing weed at the time, they make it comedic by chasing him down and the old granny picking up the thrown away weed out of the bin. Did laugh my head off. But they even make that look nice.
Yeah.
In a sense. Like, if anyone's ever been around Norwich, I'm not knocking it too much, because it is nicer than a lot of places around Sussex and bits like that. But it's rough. Like, if the Channel 4 documentary that they did several years past on the Knight family, that showed the real Norwich and the council estate, which they did live in. It
makes Norwich look a lot better than it ever should, to be honest.
Definitely.
Another thing I was very surprised to hear, it has a very good soundtrack. Though, I've got to be honest, I think it must be the first wrestling film I've ever seen to feature Cliff Richard in a soundtrack anywhere.
That is a fair point.
To a pub fight, nonetheless.
Yeah, to a pub fight. And a good pub fight at that as well, actually.
Very true. Another thing I thought was quite good, or at least a fun in-joke for wrestling fans, was they actually decided to go with the professional wrestlers watching telly at strange angles.
Yes.
Which I thought was very well...
They full commit. It is like WWE is a real thing inside this universe of this film, and this is actually how things happen.
And how they don't have bad necks or bad eyesight is a mystery to me.
Yeah.
Because surely watching a TV at that angle is going to cause you troubles in later years.
Saying that, later on in the film where they do, well, Paige's family is watching her on the Raw after WrestleMania. They are watching the TV forward, so who knows, it could just be an American thing.
True, and I'm so happy that they actually did have a gag in there about Michael Cole mispronouncing Norwich.
Yes.
Because that's always annoyed me being a fan over the years, when they mispronounce English places.
Oh, it's terrible.
Another thing I found a little bit jarring was they had that thing where they showed individual fans applauding to moves.
Yeah.
Which has become a recent thing since the streak ended with Brock that time. That's somehow become a placement of Direct TV. I don't think they did that back in 2008.
No, they didn't. But, they would cut to the crowd, but they never would focus on a reaction.
No, it's...
I think especially that has been a modern thing since that fan with the glasses with Brock and Undertaker for sure.
Bollocks to the Rock is something I've been saying all week, as I think that's a very funny line.
And the great line is when where Paige and her brother do meet the Rock at the tryouts, there is the great line of, "We've been fans of you since you had hair."
Yeah.
Which you can tell he takes that line grimacingly.
Yeah. The Rock here is absolutely spellbinding, as is and everything, echoing many great scenes from the TV show Bowlers of his. I could watch The Rock just read a phone book, to be honest. He's that compelling.
Oh yeah, he's playing himself, so he's not even acting in a sense. He cuts some of his most famous promos, and you can tell he just had fun with it. This wasn't work for him.
No, we even got the Vin Diesel gag as well, which was brilliantly placed, as those two had a real life spat that time.
Yes.
The only thing I found quite strange was the sex tape gag, which
we're not sure yet where this came in. There is a line in the film where Vince Vaughn's character is nicknamed, we find out at the end of the film, is Sex Tape, and his name is Sex Tape because he makes everyone look good. We don't know because I believe, if I have it right, all the videos and pictures that got released of Paige it was while this film was getting premiered, or at least a week or two before. Like the trailers were out for this film. If I've got my timing right, of when the sex tape and everything, the sex tapes, I should say, all got leaked, and it's just very odd timing. It's either an amazing line which they put in, or it's just incredibly well. It's just a great coincidence.
Yeah, it really was. It's really one of these things I think they probably could have.
You don't even laugh
about that.
Yeah, you don't even laugh at it. You're more shocked. Like, did they really just say that?
Yeah. Also, another thing I found a little bit strange was the AJ Lee.
Oh yeah,
I did not look anything like her.
No, I completely forgot this fact. But I was very surprised when, the actress. I think, unless she is a trainee wrestler, because I'm not sure if she is or not, but. Because the actress playing Paige, you could tell she trained.
Sure.
Because they did have a lot of shots of her wrestling, same with her brother as well. But no, the actress playing Paige, her promos were the fake promos were very over the top acted, to where it was more pantomime levels than how AJ did it.
Sure.
And then the same with the skip was well over the top, down. It was I don't want to say hammed in, but it was tough. You could tell she probably didn't do much research into the character.
No. We also, towards the end, I believe, we had the Rocky 4 ending, with Rocky's kids and wife watching on TV while he boxes and fights Drago, which was obviously more or less shot for shot identical, if I'm right, with Paige winning the belt and then her family watching on in Norwich.
Yes, I think they hammed in the stage fright that she has a little bit. I don't remember in real life when Paige made her debut on Raw after WrestleMania that she stalled and didn't know what to say when AJ called her out. But yeah, I believe the match, at least how they cut it, was as like for like as they could probably get with two actresses.
Plus, bringing someone in and having them win the title on the first night is probably the worst way you can debut a character anyway.
Especially how they make Paige look for the film, because there's not even a montage or a scene where she's like, oh, she's really kicking ass now. It goes straight from, I didn't quit, I want to be here, to, well, you're starting to get better. Oh, she's making friends with everyone for the first time. Oh, you're the champ now. It was the only bit of the film that seemed a bit rushed. But that is that end 10-15 minutes does seem to be a bit forced and a bit, right, we need to wrap this up.
Sure. And the one thing about wrestling films, and, well, sports films in general, is it's very hard to cock up a montage.
Yes.
They're very easy to do. And I don't believe I saw one in the film, which really shocks me.
No, there wasn't. No, they had a few cutaway scenes to a few bits, but no, there wasn't a Rocky montage in a sense where just one big song in the background going for it. No. Which is a shame for a wrestling film, especially for someone who is training in a sense. You'd feel like, especially with they could have done a lot of that with the NXT Academy, and that's the perfect place for it. I'm pretty sure they filmed the majority, if not the whole film, in the UK, just because if I remember rightly, they did film the Raw scenes at the Raw and SmackDown shows at the O2. They do have a lot of English wrestlers pop up. Well, not a lot. They have a few indie wrestlers pop up during the film. At the tryouts, they have Dave Mastiff. I'm pretty sure they have a wrestler who is Big Effin' Joe, who is a legend of a deathmatch wrestler in the UK. There's also Costa K, who has a bit of back and forth with Vince Vaughn in the same tryout scene. And then later on, which is the one thing that was a bit shocking, and it shows how far back they must have filmed this, Kip Sabian is no lines, just, you can tell he's put in there as a bit of eye candy,
Sure.
because there's mainly focus on the Divas, so it's the one decent looking bloke in the lineup. Training in an NXT t-shirt, and has lined up a couple of times. It's very weird, because obviously they're making a big deal of him in AEW now.
Sure.
Same with Jody Fleisch. I think WWE must have known about him
Sure.
at some point with his legendary matches with Johnny Storm and the British, and some of the American indies.
Sure.
But he pops up as, again, no lines, just a trainer. And it's just very weird to see out of nowhere, like, oh, I recognise you. Just pop up for 30 seconds, which I guess most people do have in most films, that there is moments where people have that. It's just weird as a wrestling film that you don't get many wrestlers pop up
No.
who aren't signed. And again, that's one thing also. They don't use WWE, they use them very sparingly. The Rock probably has, even though he doesn't wrestle in it, he's the biggest, he has the most scenes out of a wrestler in this film.
Sure.
Because apart from that, the only other actual WWE wrestlers that are in it is The Miz walks by once, and you watch an argument between the Big Show and Sheamus over should Big Show eat a hot dog before his wrestling match.
Absolutely should.
And he definitely should.
Ah.
But it's good that they didn't focus on using the wrestlers. They wanted to tell Paige's story as true to it as they could.
Sure. I also enjoyed seeing the cameo of Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods as well. Oh, hang on, that's a different film, isn't it?
No, it's a different film. You definitely caught me off guard on that one a little bit. It definitely is Xavier Woods. Can we all just say it? It's never been openly admitted. It's just everyone knows it is, so no one says it.
Well, Kofi got the belt, not him. So I just think so.
I would just like to say, on the behalf of Ricky Knight and the Knight fan in WAW, Ricky Knight would like you to know that shares in WAW are still available.
Sure.
I think this would definitely be a launching point for Florence Pugh's career as an actress.
Yeah.
I did have a look on IMDb. She has done some other bits. She has got a couple of decent things lined up as well. But I think this is definitely going to be, like, as a debut main character in a film, this is definitely going to be a film that's going to get some eyes put on her.
Let's hope that she does another remake of Paige's other films that you can find on Pornhub.
I'm not going to say that because I'm not sure how old Florence Pugh is.
We're not going to use that clip anyway, because that's fucking wrong. Well, that wraps up our first episode of the Wrestling at the Movies podcast, with the first episode being Fighting with My Family. Like us and follow us on the Twitter and the Facebooks.
I will probably be the one running the Instagram, and I will set that up as well, so we can have some pictures on that. And we can, if there is a film that you would like us to, because there is a big list of films we have found that going all the way back, I think, to the 70s, if not earlier.
Sure.
So we have a lot of films to go through. So if there's one that someone in particular or that would like us to review, and if you can give us a good enough reason to, we'll make that the next one.
Sure. We need that reason, though. We're not just going to review any old bollocks.
No, because if not, we will end up doing Suburban Commando, because I will make this happen.
Sure. Okay.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our first episode of Wrestling at the Movies. So give us a follow on all social medias, which will be linked down below, and hope to catch you next time.